ultimate power in the universe.
At last we will reveal ourselves.
I have a bad feeling about this.
You are now tuned into LightSaber Radio. If you only knew the power of gods.
Here it comes. Let's go.
You are now tuned into LightSaber Radio. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello there.
Oh, we're here. We're back, and welcome to LightSaber Radio. This is your weekly hive of rebellion and redemption for anything and everything Star Wars Rebels. If you haven't already, make sure you smash that subscribe button, hit the notification bell to join our live shows on Wednesdays and Saturdays. And if you like this video, drop us a like. It means the whole galaxy. Hello, everybody.
What's going
How
on,
are we
everybody?
doing?
Hello.
What's up, Dylan? What's up, Chris?
Hello.
All right. Sorry we went a little bit late, everybody. I had a lot of stuff going on today, so we had to get. I wasn't prepared. It was my fault. I'll take the blame on that.
Kyle, it's fine. No one will notice. It's not a problem. It's not a problem.
As long as we're here, I think they're happy. As long as,
Yeah,
as, long as we
as
show
long
up.
as we're here.
Ain't some just random ass people we brought in to just fill our spot. Some deep fakes. We just got 4 deep fakes over here.
Hey, there's probably somebody that could do it too. 'Cause
Yeah,
there's
I
some-
know, that's-
there's some
that's
people.
true.
There's some bad people.
I
out
reckon
there.
it's possible.
If any of us need to take a little break halfway through, just pop up the deep fake and that'll be fine.
That would be so awesome. What if you could just have a deep fake person that just went and did the work, went to work for you and everything? You didn't have to do anything. You
I
just
would
sit
pick
at home
that.
and
I would
be on
pick that.
podcast
Yeah.
all day long while they go to work for you and do everything else. That would be awesome.
I want to
Clones.
take, yes, I want to take all of our podcast episodes and put them through an AI and then get an AI to write an episode of Lightsaber Radio.
I don't think an AI could do it. They'd be like, "What the hell is this? I don't even know what this is." They'd be like, "I
Jizz?
cannot compute."
Jizz? It gets stuck just saying jizz.
It's not even a real word.
It's just 8 pages of jizz. Jizz band.
So
So-
today we are going to be taking a look back at my favorite animated series that has to do with Star Wars. Rebels is like close and dear to my heart. Don't get me wrong, I love the Clone Wars, but Rebels just, I don't know, it just had more of that Star Wars emotion. There wasn't a lot of them just, what the hell is going on in this episode? Why is this part of the Clone Wars? Where the hell? Who are these people? Like, it was
What
never.
planet are we on again? We're like old
some of
people
the
stuck on a bus.
some of the Clone Wars was just a little bit out there, and so I kind of really took to the Clone Wars when it first came out. I was like, oh man, another animated series. Oh, I wonder what they're gonna do this time. And then I started watching Rebels, and I ain't gonna lie, the first episode was like, okay, man, what's going on? By the second episode, I was already hooked. And since the first and second episode kind of like tie in together, that's what we're going to cover today, the first and second episode, because it's really the introduction to all the characters that we see. So I think we should just get right into it and start discussing some of the things that happen. Who wants to go? Y'all want me to go? I'll go.
Let's
Who goes
have
first?
Charlie go, because I think this was mainly like for her, and it's her first impression, first time she's watched it.
Yep.
It is.
This is like the 5th time for me. So.
This is the first time I've watched any Rebels, really. I know about it. I understand it in context of Star Wars and the timeline. But this was like a new venture for me. And I enjoyed it way more than I thought I would. I remember being really hesitant about Clone Wars when it first came out because it wasn't live action and I wanted real life, real people. I wasn't interested in the animated. And this is beautiful. I don't know what budget they're using, what designers and artists they're using, but it's gorgeous. The aesthetics, the color palettes, it pulls loads from Ralph McQuarrie's original designs as well, which is beautiful. The more of those, the merrier. Really, and the humor. I laughed so much in those first 2 episodes.
Yeah, they really.
Yeah.
I think Dave really took this as his baby. He wanted to tell a story that kind of that fit with the canon timeline, but at the same time brought new characters to life that they could build on later on in Star Wars. And as you see, that's what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
But I really think that he this was his baby. I mean, and he had full creative control over this. Writing, made sure all the artwork was right, made sure everything flowed together, made sure everything. And George gave him the reins when it started with Rebels. It was George handing over the reins, like, you're the next, you do it. You know what I'm saying? And I think that he took so much pride in what he did that it just made there was so much heart there. It was very heartfelt. You had everything. You had a little bit of comedy. You had a little bit of sincerity. You had a little bit of that found family that you always talk about. There's so much of that in this because they're all coming together from different places, and it just really makes for a good. It's not like, who was it? Somebody just said in the chat. It was Chris. Said there's like most of the Clone Wars was like 2, 3, 4 episode story arcs, and then they moved on to something else. When it came to Rebels, it was just linear. It just kept moving forward. It just kept it really shows that in 1 and 2, especially with the introduction of Ezra, him being this street rat kind of person, a little bit of Aladdin in there. You know, him being this street rat. He's trying to rob from the rebels that are robbing the Empire. And it just was like, and then it comes together and it really shows that they're like, who is this kid? You know, we could use this kid. Let's find out about this kid. But it just really came together. And I liked how they put, Ezra finds, he's like, whatever, I don't care about y'all, whatever. I've been taking care of myself. But then he sees Sabine and he's like, oh, wait a minute, hold up, I got, hold up. And I think it really put into a great aspect of things that was going on. What you got, Garrison?
Oh,
no, I definitely. So like this is my first time as well, Charlie. So and honestly, I was pleasantly surprised. I came in, I was a little bit hesitant, just because with the first like 3 seasons of Clone Wars, I couldn't get into Clone Wars. I had to skip to like episode or like season 4 or 5.
Yeah, me too.
For it to actually like start getting good for me. This one, I was pleasantly surprised. I was not expecting much. I was expecting it to be a lot more like little kid and not as coherent of a story, just kind of like bouncing around and being dumb. But it actually pleasantly
like
surprised me. It was
Smurfs.
actually, that's just what I was expecting, and that's because animated series aren't usually my thing. And it pleasantly surprised me. It really changed my mind and kind of opened me up to like, oh crap, this might be a good show. I mean, it wasn't perfect, but it was good.
CJ, I know you've seen it as many times as I have.
yeah. 5 that I can remember, probably a lot more because I was watching it when it was coming out on Disney XD. That was something that my mom had on DirecTV. So watching it was Star Wars. Clone Wars had stopped, and I was like, oh, I can keep watching Clone Wars, or this whole Disney Rebels thing's coming out. I'll watch that. And to find out that Kanan is played by Freddie Prinze Jr. is awesome. Like, I love Freddie Prinze Jr. He was one of my favorite actors. He played one of my favorite crew members of the Mystery Crew from Scooby-Doo, so that was awesome. But,
yeah, dude, he is awesome.
But overall, I enjoyed it. I've always enjoyed it. I always like. Sorry, a dog hit my mic. But I always like going back and watching stuff like this because you there's a lot of things you don't see or you miss or you forget about, and it's always nice to go back and remember it, and that's always been my favorite thing. I think the coolest thing I learned is that there's a video from YouTube that explains everything. Dave goes over and explains how he got the okay to do this. He explains what gave him the inspirations and how he brought the crew together to write this and all these things. When you guys are done with season 1, you two, Charlie and Garrison, I'm pretty sure Kyle's already seen it. Go to YouTube, type in Dave Filoni's development of Rebels, and it's literally an hour long of what inspired him, what made him do this. It's It's just amazing. I enjoyed it, and I watched it the other day. I didn't even know it was a thing. Like, I was just going through YouTube videos, and it popped up, and I was like, "Ooh, I get to learn things," and I did that. But overall, I mean, it's not my favorite. I'm not gonna say it's my favorite because Clone Wars will always be my favorite. You know, I will stick to that until the day I die. It gave me Maul. Well, Rebels gave me Maul, which is a spoiler, but
I had no idea. I'm joking.
oh, gosh, you haven't seen them. You haven't seen that far. Oh no. Yeah, no, but yeah, I mean, I don't got a lot to say on it other than it's just it had a lot of nostalgic feel to it when I was watching it. There's a lot of
That was
things that
it. That's it. I watched it and immediately it was, oh, Ezra, so there's Luke, and Hera, there's Leia, and Kanan, there's Han, and Zeb is this kind of like,
Right.
first and foremost, extremely funny. Who said he needed to be that funny? He's got this kind of chewy energy, this sort of loyal aggression, which I love to see. It's familiar but different. I'm gonna say it. It's what The Force Awakens tried to do. Like it's the idea of like nostalgia, but also
Right.
nostalgia that's different enough to hook new people. And I think The Force Awakens slipped on that a little, whereas Rebels
Right.
tried to achieve that and did achieve it because I was engaged, I was interested, I wanted to know about these characters. Also, because I've watched Bad Batch, seeing Hera as a child and now seeing her as an adult is so beautiful. She's grown, she's learned, she's powerful, she's competent, as much competent as Kanan and his Force abilities, and I love her. I get why Kyle loves her so much. That's your wife.
That is.
That's your
Yeah,
wifey.
I would definitely agree with that it has the nostalgia without copycatting.
Yes.
And it's still a fresh story, which I do like. And I like how the story isn't super predictable yet, or it might be later. But as of now, the story's not predictable and simplistic. It's actually got some moving pieces to it. It's not, you know what I mean? It's not too simple.
I've seen it compared to the A-Team, and also a lot of the action was influenced by Indiana Jones. It's got that kind of really fast-paced, fun. Again, it's super, super engaging. And yeah,
One thing I will say. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Charlie.
No, it's fine. Dylan said in the chat, Space Aladdin. That is
Yes.
on money.
Well, when he said like scum rat, I immediately thought of Han Solo, kind of like scum rat.
Yeah.
Picking his way through, surviving, swindling, grabbing things he can grab to eat and things he can sell. And that's how I looked at him. And then throughout his, development through this season, which you'll see, it really does 180, and it's a beautiful thing. I enjoy it a lot. And I think Kanan and Zeb are probably my two favorite people on this. Chopper, don't get me wrong, he's in like my top 3 droids, but he will never be R2, so he's in my top 3. But
Chopper
I think Kanan and Zeb.
Why is he so grumpy? Like, I have never heard a droid sound so angry in my life, like so inconvenienced at the thought of even being alive, let alone doing anything for anybody. What is his problem?
He sounds like anytime somebody asks him a favor, it sounds like it's such an inconvenience.
Yes.
He's that guy at the gas station. And you're like, no, that one on the top shelf. Oh, fine. God. And it's like he does not enjoy his job whatsoever, but he sticks around because he needs the payday. And his employees, his coworkers are awesome. So.
I have other thoughts and feelings. The Obi-Wan holocron wayfinder message didn't need to hurt my feelings like that, did it? Didn't need to just
right out the gate.
sock me in the side of the face right out the gate. That's the Obi-Wan that I've been asking for. That's the Obi-Wan that I've been missing, which makes this a perfect stopgap whilst we're waiting for Kenobi. Carl, you're a genius.
Well, this is I was sitting there thinking, because what happened was how's the best way to describe this? I was sitting there. What? What happened?
Your background keeps flickering in and out and making your eyes look absolutely demonic.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, no, so like I was telling the crew earlier, my mouse broke, and I'm trying to hook the new mouse up because I don't have no mouse, so I can't really do anything. And I'm like, this is, and I was trying to do it while everybody else was talking. Multitask. But when I was thinking about doing, what we could do, because I was like, dude, we're having good success with, the Wednesday shows. People enjoy that middle of the week type thing. I enjoy talking to you guys, and I was like, we need to keep this going. This is a lot of fun, and we really enjoy it. And I said, what is something that we can really talk about that had depth? Because the book of Boba Fett had depth, but at the same time, it was we were kind of cross-referenced on that. We were kind of some of us didn't care for it as much as the others. And I already knew that CJ loves the Clone Wars more than anything, and he's like Rebels is not his favorite. But so I was like, all right. That's one person. I know Garrison 90% of the time he's gonna criticize everything. I love it. I love the Rebels. Rebels is like my favorite Star Wars cartoon. I figured I can tell by just me watching it over the years that Charlie's gonna love it. So I was like, this is like the greatest. This will be something that's very good to talk about. And then there's a lot of fans out there that hopefully we can change their mind, because I've heard a lot of fans say, I ain't watching that crap, and this is blah 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 blah. I don't do cartoons, and now but this right here is going to explain, like going back and just doing a quick recap of over the time period that we had before Ahsoka comes out. This is going to explain a lot when Ahsoka comes out. So it's a good turning point, because Thrawn comes in Rebels. So we know Thrawn is going to be in Ahsoka. So that's going to tie that. Rebels ties a lot of stuff to the Mandalorian. So without having, it ties things to Mandalorian, and then it also ties things to Ahsoka. More Ahsoka than the Mandalorian, but there's some references in the Mandalorian to to Rebels. So it's like, this is one of those things that I want to get people interested in, so they can understand what's going on when it comes time for Ahsoka to come out. Because, it's like people are saying, there's the meme, and that was one of the reasons that gave me the idea, because I seen the meme. Says now all these people that said, I ain't ever going to watch Rebels need to go back and watch Rebels, because now they're like, who is this Thrawn guy? Who is this person? Like, if you would have watched it, it would explain it. So I'm not trying to tell everybody that you got to like cartoons, because I'm a 44-year-old giant child man, whatever you want to call man child, however you say that. I love cartoons. I watch cartoons just about over anything. But this is the storyline coincides with what Dave and John are doing now within live action. So you kind of need to watch it to understand, to get the real point. Because if not, you're like, oh man, this is crap. This ain't, just like Ahsoka. A lot of people don't know who Ahsoka is because they never watched Clone Wars. Well, you got to watch it. Clone Wars, all of this stuff ties together. And that's something that I don't know. I just want people to have that understanding. I want people to have that insight, so they can look back and say, oh, and I don't want nobody to feel left out. Because when you watch something and you don't know what's going on, you feel left out. And no Star Wars fans should be feeling left out when all the information is right there. We got enough plot holes that they just give us anyway. Just random plot holes that we're like, what the hell's going on? We don't need to add to it just because of pride. I'm an adult. I don't watch cartoons. That's one of the big, it doesn't matter. It's Star Wars. It is good Star Wars too. And I love the storyline.
That's true. The stories are fantastic. I keep going back to this. It made me laugh so much. The way Ezra looks at Sabine when she takes her helmet off.
Yes.
That boy has, like Anakin and Padme, that boy has never come into contact with a girl in his life. He has no idea what he's doing.
But he tries so hard.
Trying so hard, and she's like,
and that's you gotta, when you really look at it, Dave uses a lot of real life situations in his story. That's something like I don't care about being no Jedi or none of the crap y'all are doing, this rebel crap. Oh, look at this girl. Oh, I'm gonna go with y'all. And then next thing he's part of the Rebel Alliance.
Whoops.
And then I mean, I'm not trying. I don't want to spoil it for nobody, but there's a lot of characters that come into this that I think that we're going to be seeing later on down the road, and that we're starting to see now. Book of Boba Fett brought a few characters in that were part of, that were in the Book of Boba Fett, that were in Rebels, and I'm hoping that they bring out the Bendu, because that will explain a lot. That's going to explain a lot, and that's another character that came from Legends that they brought into the canon timeline because it explains how certain Jedis could do certain things that other Jedis couldn't do. Without the Bendu, it's just a big hole inside of the Force and all that. This explains a lot. So when we get to that point, it's gonna really make a lot of it's gonna make a lot more sense. And I just, like I said, I love it. So, I mean, I wouldn't say it's a 10 because there's no such thing as a 10. I'll agree with you on that, Garrison. There's no such thing as perfection, because if it was perfect, then, there wouldn't be no room for growth. There wouldn't be no reason to have any new stuff coming out. But to me, it's one of the most, it just shows acceptance. And I think that the whole world needs that more. How to accept, people's opinions that may differ, or people's love that may differ, or just, the world. The world, we're about to go into World War III, and everybody's sitting back acting like there ain't no issues going on. And I mean, we are privileged enough to be sitting here on this podcast and talking about something that we all agree on and we all love. And there's other places and people that don't have that opportunity. And it sucks. So any way that we can express that, and I think that that's what's really one of the underlying stories within Rebels. I was downstairs watching, like I was telling y'all before. I don't know why I always get on season 1. I get to episode 12, and then I got to stop watching. I watched it 1 through 12 probably about 10 times. I don't know why I watched it. I just get stopped at 12. But I was explaining to my wife. I was like, there's so many. Like every single story had a moral behind every story that Dave wrote in Rebels. Plus the whole 4th season had a moral behind it. But you can see the moral in between each thing, like being lost and then being, and finding yourself, finding a family. That's like episode 1. Episode 2 is return. Return things, because everything that the Force does is going to put things in the right order. So they return the droids. So that all goes to, everything, every moral that every episode has can change who you are and the way you look at things.
Chris, I'm so sorry.
Oh, no,
Chris,
no, it's all right.
100% correct. I knew there was something going on with Kanan and Hera because she called him love and it was adorable. And I love anything that's got soppy romance in it. I'm big softy.
I want to say, Infernal Hippo, what's up? Haven't seen you in the chat before. I thought I would quickly shout that out and say hi. How are you?
That's a dope name.
Right?
Infernal Hippo. That's a good name. You got to think about it too. When you really think about it, hippos is like dangerous, and people just be like, "Oh, look at the hippo." Hippos they're dangerous.
More people die from hippos
from hippo attacks
than anything else. Like, that's crazy to think. They look all cute and cuddly, and the Madagascar movies didn't help that scenario. So everybody's like, "Oh, how cute!" And then chomp, you're gone. But dope name.
Yeah, Nick, that's something I wanted to talk about. Sabine's armor is gorgeous. That's such a clever concept.
And that's something that, and if you notice in the first part, she Is it in the first one or the second one, CJ? In episode 1 or 2? But
Second
you'll catch her spray painting things.
Yes.
She's spray painting things, and she's the one that came up with, Sabine is the one that came up with the Rebel logo. Like the whole Rebel logo, that is Sabine that came up with all that. You go back in time, you don't know who created this. You don't know where that artwork came from. You don't know who created that emblem. And Sabine is actually the person that first started doing the Rebel emblem. The fire, or the whatever it's called.
That's amazing.
So she's and she her expression. That's how her art is her expression. And you'll see as other characters come in that they kind of use that to kind of get her to do things, because with her wanting to blow everything up, you know, they kind of trick her into doing things by stroking her ego about her art or bringing up other artists that she's inspired by. Very, very in-depth details are within the storyline of Rebels. Zeb is my favorite character too. I love it. Zeb is the greatest. I think that's one of the people that hooked me the most. So, Inferno Hippo said his favorite Rebel character was Zeb, and Zeb is my dude, man. Because he's just
Zeb's the big guy. He's the concept Wookiee.
Yeah, he was who Chewbacca was supposed to be in original concept art. That's what they drew him to look like.
That was a good question.
He was like, you know, he's like part of the honor guard of whatever species it is. I can't remember right off the top of my head, but he was like part of the honor guard, and he has this special staff, and which the concept art of Rey actually carrying the staff was taken from Zeb in Rebels.
Damn, that's so cool.
And then so all these things tie together. Like all of these things tie together, and it just makes it so much compelling to want to watch, because now it's like, see, like I said, I watch anything Star Wars. There's nothing that I won't watch. I don't care. I even watch the holiday special, even though I hate it. But if it's on TV and I just flip through the channels, I'm gonna watch it because I'm gonna laugh and be like, "This is terrible." You know what I'm saying?
Well,
I see why George wanted to burn this.
Out of my house.
But like watching the Clone Wars, I was like everybody else. I was like, all right, man, the Clone Wars didn't get good till season 4. Like the first 3 seasons was like, so I wasn't, and then from 4 to 6, I was like, all right. And then the way that they ended it, it was like, okay, wait, that just sucks, man. Y'all just ended this at like the most worst thing. So when you get to, when Rebels came out, I wasn't like super excited about watching it. I just wasn't. I was like, man, not again, man. But of course, I watched it, and literally within the first couple of episodes, I was hooked. I was like, this actually feels like something that's going to be linear. It's going to extend out, and it's going to show something later, you know. And then the only cartoon that I really just watched and just completely just did not like was Resistance. And it wasn't that I didn't like Resistance, because Resistance had some good episodes. It just was kind of wonky the way that they did things, and it didn't really fit with nothing. Like, okay, this is just some random.
It was just random. It was just so random.
Some of the episodes were pretty cool. They was funny. They, you know, had races and had, you know, some stuff that tied in, but it just didn't. To me, it wasn't. It didn't. It was like reading a Ryan Johnson book that he wrote about Star Wars that had nothing to do with Star Wars, but he tried to make it seem like it was about Star Wars, like he did the movie. You know, it was one of those.
It's a story with characters that involve Star Wars. Supposedly.
Exactly.
Supposedly. Yeah. Well, I have a question for you too, though, real fast, for you and Garrison. So, off these first 2 episodes, who do you like the most so far? Like, what are the 2 characters that you would like if you were to pick one to hang out with right now? Who you pick it? Because I know Kyle's. Like, I gotta agree with Kyle.
I don't know if I had to pick a character to hang out with, though. I don't think I would hang out with Zeb.
Not to fall in love with.
I'm picking Hera. Out of all the characters, I'm picking Hera. I don't think Sabine is old enough yet.
You don't know, huh? Did I stump you on a question? I got it. You guys
No.
stumped. Yay. I don't do that very often. It's fun.
Go ahead, Charlie.
Purely for the fact that we're both artists, I'd probably choose to hang out with Sabine. I feel like her and I had quite a lot of common ground. I would love to like do some designs on her armor. That'd be really sick. Yeah. Or Hera, because I like her voice. She sounds very gentle and very calm, and I like that.
Enjoy it. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
If I go anywhere near Hera, Kyle will like ruin. Like, no. So
You know what? Check this out. So when I was first coming up with the idea of this podcast, Rebels inspired me on this podcast, and I'm gonna tell you how. So at first, when like I said, I sent out, I made the call out on the other podcast. I put out a whole bunch of stuff on Instagram and stuff. I had a lot of people get back to us, but most of them were guys. So when my assistant went through everybody and picked everybody that she thought fit, I was like, we have to have a female because we need a Hera. We need somebody that's going to keep us in line because that's what Hera does within the series.
God.
I'm gonna cry. Stop. I've got nice makeup on and everything. You
No, but seriously, that's what it was. I was like, we need a woman because you put 4 or 5 guys just talking about Star Wars, we're gonna just be talking over each other. Nobody's gonna be able to understand us. We're never gonna have nothing linear that just happens. It's just gonna be random, crazy shit left and right.
We're gonna be a crazy train of toxic.
We need somebody that's gonna bring that composure down and bring us back to reality. That's what Hera does in the season of Rebels. She's the one is the sense. She's the one that has sense. She was like, all right, wait a minute. This we're not gonna do that. That don't even make sense. We're gonna do this. Quit fighting,
Why'd
y'all.
you even say that?
She's like the mother of the crew. She really, she has to get on Ezra and Zeb all the time. They fighting with each other. The damn choppers fighting with them. They're all running through the ship and knocking shit over. She's like, stop now. And that's what, and that was kind of the sense that I had when I was doing a podcast. And Sabine just painting the ship with all kind of different colors and doing all kind of, she's just doing her own stuff. She's not paying attention to nobody. Because she's still a young woman, in her, what do you think? She's about 16, maybe 17?
Yeah.
Somewhere right in there. So Hera's like the mom that makes sure everything, she's the one that, has to teach the lessons. Like, it's funny that Kanan is the one teaching, is the one that's going to teach Ezra to be a Jedi. But all the memorable parts of lessons learned, Hera's the one that's teaching those lessons. She's the one saying the things that makes the most sense. What do you think? She'll, make a comment. Or when Sabine is having problems with trust, and Hera's always the one that's holding things together and giving that moment of
level-headedness.
Yeah, level-headedness and inspiration. She gives a lot of inspiration because of just the way she is. And then we got Miss Charlie here, and it comes in and has the Charlie's Impossible quiz and make us all look like we're stupid. You're the one that yells at us when we start getting out of line and start just rambling on. You're the one that draws back into the conversation. And you're also the one that jumps on us when we're okay, look at it from this point of view. Because, as men, we're most of the time, we're pretty narrow-minded. We look at, it's like this. No, I seen what I seen. Okay, I didn't see that behind it. I wasn't looking over it.
I get it. It's difficult for you guys. I understand. I'm here to help.
All right. Well, if she's Hera, what are you? What is everybody else?
I'm Dark Sway. I just want to kill everybody. So, I don't know. I'm the bad guy. As we see, look at the scenario. Look at the scenario. I say, hey guys, we got to tone back on our cussing. Fuck this shit. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So,
it's even funnier because right after that, we talked about doing that. The Valentine's Day episode was just right there to change that whole precedent.
Pretty sure that episode's flagged as explicit on Google Podcast, but we'll just let it slide.
Yes, that
So
was
many of our
awesome.
episodes are.
Oh,
So
yeah.
many of them are flagged
Oh,
as
yeah.
explicit.
And it's crazy, you know, everybody that's watched that episode or listened to it on Spotify or whatever, everybody says like the greatest episode that they've ever heard on Star Wars. There's actually, I seen now they got this thing to where they can flash different characters over your head on TikTok.
Oh yeah.
And then
Yeah,
you can say smash or pass. Like, dude, we did that before all of it. You know what I'm saying? But I just don't understand, like, why I guess we were just a little bit too much or something, because everybody's like, that was the greatest episode ever, but we only got like 58 views on it or something. Like, I don't know how we only got 58 views. Like, yeah, I don't get it. But that's just the way that it is sometimes. The episodes that you're thinking is going to be the greatest sometimes don't be the best. And some of the episodes, you'd be like, what, that was our worst episode and we got 5,000 likes on that thing? How the hell did we get that? Like, that wasn't even a good episode.
Like that Old Republic video we did, none of us were very prepared. None of us were particularly like awake. Garrison wasn't even there. That did so well these last couple of weeks.
Good to
Everyone
know.
was actually-
Good to know. I'm glad to hear it, guys.
You were deeply missed. It was very
I'm just
weird
playing. I'm
without
just
you.
playing.
He still appreciates you.
Honestly, Infernal Hippo, it is a fantastic episode, if I do say. Please don't judge me for anything that I say on that episode. I take no
Hey, I said I would smash
Oh,
everybody.
The Valentine's? Oh, man.
Yeah.
Smash,
Oh, man.
smash,
Kyle and I
smash.
were kind of going ham on the
I'm-
smash button over
I'm
here.
a good Christian girl, I swear.
Oh, man, now you're just lying to the listeners.
Lies.
Catholic household.
Anybody that likes the
Guys,
sequel trilogy, you know is a liar. No, I'm just playing.
Oh, no. Shots fired.
Roasted.
Hey, Chris, I saw that comment in the chat here. Don't spoil anything. How dare you?
No spoilers.
Yeah,
No spoilers.
Hey, them are good.
I'll put you on timeout, Chris. I have the power.
There was some good episodes. I ain't gonna lie, there
I
was some
gotta
good
give you that.
episodes.
And I'm glad you reminded
There's
me.
a lot
because
of good
I haven't watched
episodes.
it forever.
The whole series just was good. I mean, it just like I said, because it was linear, it had a story from very beginning to the very end, and it all flowed together. It all made sense. It showed, you know, it just made it enjoyable to watch. It really did.
Chris out here fighting for his life in the chat.
I would be too. I'd be. Are you gonna put the shovel down? Are you gonna put the shovel down?
Nobody's getting sent to jail.
No one's
No.
getting on timeout, I promise.
Not yet.
I am super, super excited to carry on watching this. I anything I can sink my teeth into, fall in love with, imprint on all of the characters, want to be all of them, be friends with all of them, cosplay.
And I'm gonna
all
tell
of
you
them.
right now, it's gonna be very hard for you, you know, because you're gonna be like the rest of us. I don't know so much about Garrison. Garrison might not be. But it's going to be hard to not want to just binge watch the whole 4 seasons just back to back to back to back to
Oh,
back
yeah.
to back to back. It's going to be very hard. Not that you
And
can't
I
do that. If that's what you want to do, you can do it. But if you want to have like the most realistic, you know, point, it kind of sucks. Now I wish I could I wish I hadn't seen this so I could give like my just direct, like I just watched it for the first time review of it. And that's
a good
something that
question. If you could turn back time, which Star Wars product would you watch for the first time again?
Revenge of the Sith.
Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
You could-
Revenge
I would
of the
want
Sith.
I would want to watch Revenge of the Sith and Rogue One. That's the 2 movies that I would want to watch from like I think out of all the movies, like the Phantom Menace was great. Like it was the Phantom Menace when I first went to go see the Phantom Menace especially because I had been waiting so long for new Star Wars to come out. But like when Revenge of the Sith came out, that was just mind blowing. That lightsaber, like I can never get enough of that. Like to see that again for the very first time, like oh my god, that would be so much fun. And then Rogue One, because Rogue One was just so like you're just like oh man, and then Darth Vader comes out at the end, and it just like what? Oh, it was like I seen this. But I haven't seen this. Not like this.
Yeah.
In the
Yes.
theater,
Yes.
in the theater on opening night of that movie, jam packed. I'm up in the back. I was an hour early so I can get a good spot so I can see the whole theater. When that happened, that damn theater was screaming.
How many of y'all waited in line? How many of y'all waited in line for hours to see Phantom Menace?
Oh, not
I
Phantom
spent the
Menace.
night. I spent the night to go watch Phantom Menace. Like I literally, we got there like it was about 4 o'clock in the afternoon and stayed till the next day. And I think the first showing was at like 10 o'clock.
I waited in line for Rogue One because it was in IMAX, the big IMAX. And there was a line literally going all the way out. There's only 2 IMAXs in this playing the same movie. So there was a line going to the one side and a line going to the other. And you could hear it from outside. And people are like, they have headphones on. They're trying not to hear anything special because it's IMAX. I mean, as nice as it looks, it's very jankily built and thin walls. So you would hear certain things going off. And I remember at one point I heard Tarkin's voice and I was like, oh, that's great. I don't want to hear that. And I remember putting my headphones on. I'm like, I can't do this. I personally can't do this.
That is a Star Wars crime. I didn't actually watch Revenge of the Sith until the run-up to Force Awakens. I slept on it for way too long after not enjoying The Phantom Menace in the theater.
Wow.
If I'm not mistaken, Phantom Menace was 99.
Yeah,
99.
Phantom Menace was 99.
And I had been
like
waiting
one.
since 1983 to see Star Wars again.
If I could turn back time, I would watch Phantom Menace again to capture that like intensity and that magic, that spark that just lights in your brain that goes, "This is it. I found it. I found the thing that makes me so deliriously happy."
I think one of the things, like seeing Phantom Menace was great. I think one of the best parts of Phantom Menace when that door opens and Darth Maul is standing there with the dual-bladed lightsaber.
Yes. And
I would pay anything in the world to just never have seen that and then get to see it again. That was to see Darth Maul, like we seen him, but we didn't see him when he hit that double-bladed lightsaber, and it just it's unspeakable.
Love the memes behind
Dude,
it.
that's such a good point because like I grew up with that, so the double-bladed lightsaber was like, it's normal. Of course the bad guy has a double-bladed lightsaber.
Yeah.
Of course they
I
have
grew
something
up with
so
it.
OP.
But imagining like the first time you watch that where that's unheard of, it's just like, my God. Oh, man.
Dude, I so much want to see somebody with a light whip. I want to see a light whip in live action.
Books. Oh gosh.
I would love to see that live action. The first time we ever get to see a light whip in live action, that's going to be so dope.
Oh jeez.
Like so dope. I don't even think we got to see a light whip in anime yet. Have we seen a light whip in anime?
Yes.
Nope.
No.
I don't think we see a light whip in anime.
Similar though, it was that episode of Ahsoka's people getting captured in Clone Wars. It was very similar. It was it wasn't much of a lightsaber, but it was literally like when you put the electro staff into a whip form kind of deal. It was very similar.
Weren't there some light whip ideas thrown around in Visions? I'm sure in the Twins episode when they're fighting in space, there's
I don't know if you count that though, because I don't really count Visions. The Visions just random.
I don't count
like.
Dylan specifically asked me, and I'm sorry I missed this. Charlie, would I rather cosplay Hera or Sabine? Ooh.
Hera.
There's a lot of Hera. I would see you with Sabine because you get to use your artistic skills. And with Hera, as long as Sabine, with Sabine, you get to really play with the artwork on that. As long as
I really want some armor. I really want some Mandalorian clone. I'd love some armor. That'd be sick. I would love to do Hera, but good God, I have seen what people go through to put those noodles on their heads, and I would sweat, I would dehydrate, and I would faint, and that would be the end of it. No.
I don't know. Like,
God bless every Togruta, every Twi'lek cosplayer. Your heroes. I could never.
Like since we're doing the cosplay episode this weekend, and I've been going through, and we all been hitting up different cosplayers, and commenting on their cosplay, seeing if they wanted to come on the show and stuff. Dude, there's some people out there that got some dope cosplay. Like,
straight.
I'm like, dude, like, there's some of this stuff that looks. Like, dude, y'all should get these people to design the costumes for your live actions because their costumes is way better than what y'all are doing on live action. Like, and they made this in their house. Like, this is not like these are people that like made this stuff at home out of silicone and stuff they had laying around their house and stuff, and it like looks way better. Like some of the Ahsokas, dude, way better than Ahsoka in the series. Like, oh wow, y'all really need to work on her headdress and stuff because it looks bad in live action. But these people got it down. I was so impressed. I was so impressed with some of the cosplayers. Like,
hey, Kyle, nice segue.
What?
That sounded like one.
Hey, I wasn't trying to say. I was just bringing up a point. I was trying to get.
I am. If anyone still isn't aware, we are doing a huge cosplay celebration show on Saturday. We are getting a really fabulous collection of cosplayers. I'm not going to spoil any of them for you because I'm super excited to show everybody. But we've got some fantastic people joining us for our Saturday show. It's going to be a long one, so get some snacks, get some drinks, settle in, get comfy.
Oh, y'all, that sucks too. I forgot.
We are celebrating all things cosplay because it's such a huge part of the community and deserves all the love and the praise because it's such a creative fan base.
Well,
oh my goodness.
So just to give everybody a little bit of background, we all have a little bit of cosplay in us, especially Charlie. Charlie has a lot. Charlie puts her heart and soul into her cosplay. I made my costume in a weekend, and I just created a character because I was like, I don't like none of these people. I don't want to be nobody else. So I just created my own character. But it's about freedom. It's about the capability of doing what comes to your imagination. You being okay to do whatever. If you want to be Sabine, if you want to be Hera, if you want to be, Leia, if you want to be Darth Vader, whoever you want to be, you can create that.
Right.
If you want to create your own character, there's so many Mandalorians out there that they're just a whole new person. It's crazy. And it's a freedom of expression. And I want a lot of people to understand that this has been going on for a long, long time. Not just Star Wars, but cosplay in general. And okay, I kind of lost thought of what I was. Oh, and there's so everybody, there's some people out there that I talked to that was like, are you, they were kind of, very hesitant to want to come on the show because they've been ridiculed about their cosplay.
Oh God, yeah.
And they're like, oh, your stuff looks like crap. And it's like, dude, screw them people, man. I think your stuff looks cool. You know what I'm saying? At least you tried. At least you gave creative expression to who you are. And that's important. It doesn't matter if your cosplay is great or if it's, you paid $2,000, $10,000. I mean, because there's some people out there that are paying thousands and thousands of dollars for their cosplay, and they didn't even build their cosplay. And then they want to set up on a pedestal and act like that they're better than everybody else. Your costume don't make you better. It's the heart that you put into your costume.
Damn straight.
It's your creative expression that you put into your costume that makes it cosplay. Because technically, if everybody wants to get technical, we're all copycats. We're all Myrtle's copycats because she was the first cosplayer. She was the very first person to cosplay. Everybody else has copied her ever since then. So you can't sit back and say, oh, like you better than everybody else because your cosplay is this or your cosplay is that. It's about creative expression. It's about becoming that. What did I say in the last episode that we was talking about the Star Wars is a journey to escape the realities of the world. When I put on my costume, I'm not Kyle no more. I'm Darth Sway. I create the rules of my character. If somebody wants to be Rey Skywalker, or if somebody wants to be Rey Palpatine, or if somebody wants to be, Darth Revan, or if they just want to be Revan, it's okay. Because it's who you want to be. It's your cosplay. What the hell is it, bending?
Oh, it's Rey's Darksaber, but the hinge is broken. So it snaps together like this, but I can't bend it.
Oh, okay. I was like, wait, why is it swaying like that?
It's broken, Kyle, that's why.
But nah, it's just
look at that judgment, man. Come on, just what we were talking about, man. Quit criticizing her cosplay. I'm just kidding.
It's broken.
But it's okay, it's okay. It's about freedom of expression, and that's all that it is. We have the rights to express who we want to be. You have the right. Everybody has a right to their own opinion when it comes to Star Wars. I don't agree with everything Charlie says. I don't agree with everything Garrison says or CJ. They don't always agree with what I say. You know, I don't agree with this canon legends shit, but you know what I'm saying? Some people live by it. They're this not canon. Oh my God, they'll lose their damn mind. And it's like, who cares? It's a Star Wars. Let's have fun. It's about having fun. It's about, you know, Star Wars. It's not about all this. And Star Wars George told us plain and simple, it's about freedom of expression. You know, it's his expression that he put out there for everybody else to enjoy. And then when other people started taking his idea and doing their own thing with it and running off and creating all this other stuff, he made it you. He said, it's not my idea, but it's still great. Yeah. So let's make it you. That way nobody gets confused about what's mine and what's somebody else's. And that's great. He allowed people to express themselves. And I think that's one of the underlying meanings of Star Wars, is allowing yourself and your own opinions and your own creativity to be able to enjoy Star Wars the way that you want to. You don't have to service to the novelization of what everybody else is saying about Star Wars. You don't have to do that. You can be yourself when it comes to Star Wars.
Dylan said it best. He says the one thing I've learned about cosplay is that the people who haven't put the time, money, energy into the cosplay are the most critical. And I can openly agree with that. I have been spending a lot of time on this cosplay I'm going to have on Saturday. A lot. And like every time I get a piece done, it's like, yes, you know, it's just that
sense of accomplishment.
Yeah. And it's like, oh, this is either going to be really dope or it's going to break midway through episode because I'm going to do something.
Like, don't.
Oh God, I'm dreading that. That's one thing I'm dreading, because wearing that costume, my costume is so hot. And then I'm under all these damn lights. Oh, I'm going to be dying. I'm going to be dying, but I'm going to push through. If I can do a 4-hour MRI, I can push through on this crap.
What's the incentive for cosplay? The incentive is like Kyle was saying. Like if before Charlie goes.
No, of
from
course.
What I've learned when I started doing this was just the freedom. Like I can put on a Mandalorian helmet, Mandalorian armor, but it's painted like neon blue, and I can name myself, and I can wear what I want, and I can carry what blaster I want, and I could be a good guy, or I could be a bad guy, or I can be the anti-hero. It's that sense of freedom and just pure happiness to just let your creative expressions out, judgment free. Like Comic-Cons are the best thing for that. Every Comic-Con I've been to, I don't like, oh God, that looks terrible. No, I walk out and be like, yo, that's dope. Like, what made you think that? Like, I love talking to people about that. And I think that's the biggest incentive is just the excitement you see in kids' faces, or even people in their 60s. My grandfather, who's like 74, went to a Comic-Con with me. He literally saw a guy, his favorite things are Ewoks. Grandfather's 4'11". So anything short, anything short is his thing, I guess. He saw a guy in an Ewok costume, walked up and took a photo with him because he thought that was cool. The guy had told us that he did it all himself. He did the hole punching of each individual hair that he had bought. Like, it's that.
I don't have the patience for that.
Oh, I don't either. I don't either. But like, it was the fact that when he was talking about his costume, his just overall like experience, it was nothing but a smile on his face. He didn't bitch about a single moment of it. He's like, yeah, some moments were hard, but like when I got an arm piece done, or the chest, or the helmet, or the eyes to articulate, because his eyes would move. He was so proud of it. And I think in itself, it's amazing for like even me now that I get to share that with two little ones and go to Comic-Cons or go to Disneyland or do all these things and show off such a beautiful universe that we as cosplayers, as fans, have created over the last years. Like it's years of this, and it's a beautiful thing to share. Darius, honestly, if you ever get a chance to go to a Comic-Con, do it. It is amazing.
Honestly, when I first created my costume, it was because I seen people on TikTok doing it. Honestly, that's the reason I did it. It wasn't until after I've done it, and then I said, hey, man, don't nobody know it's me. I can just be this person, and don't nobody know. and I can create this, and I can have my own character. And that's what made the biggest difference to me. That's what got me into cosplay. I built the costume because I'm like, everybody on TikTok doing this, so I guess this is what you're supposed to do, build a costume and just do it. And then after I had it built, and then I was looking at it like, I don't like it like this. Let me change this. I want to paint the mask. I want to do this. Because if you go back and you look at my TikTok, I had a whole different mask when I first started. I had, it was completely different. And then I changed it because I was like, I don't like this. I want to be more creative. But at first it was just like, I'm going to make this just so I could do some videos because I had an idea. Basically, my idea was telling stories in cosplay. And I just created some random ass stories. Just wrote down some random ass stories and then recorded them in my cosplay. That's basically it. You can go back on my TikTok. If you go back to Star Wars and 10's TikTok, and I think they're on Instagram too. I think I put them on the Instagram too. You can go back and see like my original stories. And it was just basically who was this character that I created? Who was he? You know what I'm saying? Like me sitting in a cantina and Jedi come, but I have a ring that sucks out all their powers so they can't use the Force. It blocks them from being able to use the Force. I'm immortal. I've been burnt, stabbed, cut to pieces, everything, and I just always come back. Like I'm screwed. The Force gave me these ultimate abilities, but I am forced to live forever.
Man, I couldn't handle that.
Before I completely talk your ear off, if anyone else is interested in hearing me talk about what cosplay means to me in length, check out Clone Army Radio's latest episode. Did not realize it was going to be 2.5 hours of me talking about how much I love Star Wars, but go check it out because it's actually really fun. I have anxiety, I have confidence issues, I have quite a lot of complex mental health problems, and cosplay is very, very quickly became one of the spaces where none of that mattered. I was strong, I was confident, I was proud of myself, I was engaged, I was focused. I got told I looked like Daisy Ridley, and it sort of started from there. And I'm very lucky to look like the character that I portray. That is not an essential part to cosplay. I wish to reinforce this point. You do not have to look like the character to cosplay them. Not necessary.
But it helps a lot when you go to cons.
It helps when you go to cons to get recognized. But having said that, I have been called Princess Leia, I think, more times than I've been called Rey. So do with that what you will.
I mean, it kind of sucks, too, because when you really get into it and you really start looking, like people, there's been some messed up comments that I've seen about, especially with African-American cosplayers. You know what I'm saying? Because they're putting on, they're trying to be Rey or they're trying to be, Obi-Wan or something like that. And then they're put down because Obi-Wan wasn't black or Rey wasn't black. That don't have nothing to do. Your color, your skin don't have anything to do. You're playing a character. It is a fantasy where you get to escape the realities of this world. None of that stuff matters.
And you don't have to be limited to that skin color itself. You don't have to be Lando or Finn or any color of.
You can do who you want to be. Be who you want to be. Who cares?
You want to be
it's
Hera
about having
and you're
fun.
like a 6'5" black dude. Do it. Do what makes you happy at the end of every day, no matter what. If it makes you happy, you puff out your chest. You say "fuck you." You put on that costume. And you rock it. I don't care. I will always back you at the end of every day. You do what you do. You do what makes you happy. I will always have your back. I'm giving you the guys that right now. I don't care what anybody says. You don't have to look like Daisy Ridley or John Boyega or Ewan McGregor. You want to be Boba Fett, but you're like 4'3". Rock a Mando armor.
Go and be Boba Fett.
Do what you do and walk with a swagger and go kick ass. Go be happy.
George, hold up. Before we get to this comment right quick, because I'm going to get to Darius's comment in a second.
I want to get to it as well, because I've got...
George basically created something. He used a bunch of history and things like that and created a fantasy world that we could immerse ourselves into to escape the realities of the real world. We were at the end of the Vietnam War. The world wasn't doing that great. Here comes Star Wars. The world the United States at the time when it came out was united and everybody was getting along because Star Wars was a phenomenon.
Yeah.
And the key to that was that it was a fantasy where you could turn on that movie and you could watch that movie and you didn't have to worry about what was going on in the rest of the world. You didn't have to worry about racism and war and people hating and all that stuff. Everybody, it didn't matter what you was. During when Star Wars first came out, everybody was accepted at Star Wars when it came to Star Wars. And a lot of people got discriminated against and got put down and everything because George didn't do none of that. He had everybody in the damn movie. He didn't care what color you was, if you was gay, he didn't care about none of that stuff. If you was a good actor, you was in the show.
Yep.
That's the only thing he cared about. And then everybody that came to the theaters and everybody that came and seen the movies was all accepted. It wasn't until later on and when it was like, oh, this is a bunch of nerds and we got to bash that it became bad. And then for years, if you was a Star Wars fan or you was a Star Trek fan or if you liked any type of science fiction, you was just a nerd and you was persecuted for that. It's wrong. We're not in that time period. We are in 2022. We as people need to understand that there's no boundaries. We are just humans. No matter your ethnicity, no matter your sexual preference, no matter the things, everybody can make their own damn decisions. That's it. Everybody's just humans. So if you want to be a cosplayer, I don't care if you're gay, black, white, Hispanic, Orient, do what you want to do. Fuck everybody else and their opinion of what you do.
There it is. Doris, I'm jumping on this comment. Thoughts on the Dune universe being in Star Wars? The Dune universe has been in Star Wars for a long time because Star Wars was inspired by the original Dune novel. That's where spice comes from and the Kessel spice mines. Dune has been a huge leading influence on George's writing from the very, very beginning. Dune was originally published in 1965 and Star Wars came out in 77. So,
and
I can't speak on the movie. I haven't seen the latest movie with Timothée Chalamet and Zendaya in it.
Oh man, what are you doing, man? Dune was cool.
Good.
I like Dune.
Good?
It was pretty good. Yeah, I liked it.
I enjoyed it.
I know about the book. It is on my list to attempt to read, but I know that it's sort of like it's such kind of high science fiction that even I'm a little intimidated.
I heard that the book was like it's like one of those books that when you read that book, you're like, huh? What? Like,
yes.
You literally have to keep going back and reading parts because it switches up so much that it's hard to follow.
There's a lot of moving pieces. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of names to keep track of.
But that does it does massively explain why Star Wars is Star Wars and why Star Wars looks and feels the way it does. Especially, I think it's one of those things. If you ever get around to it as a Star Wars fan, if you can find the time, strength, and concentration, read Dune.
I tried to read it years ago and I didn't finish it. It was just too confusing. It just kept leading me into me. It was like trying to read a book about the multiverse without knowing anything about the multiverse. like because it switches up. There's so many.
You're correct. Lord of the Rings.
There's so many moving pieces. There's so many different characters and the way that it is written, like this chapter is about this character, and then it'll jump to this chapter. But in the middle of this chapter about this other character, it'll jump to a whole nother character. Then it'll jump back to this character. It's like, okay, who are we talking about again? Like, what's going on? Like, and then you have to go back. You have to go back and then reread it again to understand. I was like, dude, I ain't got time for this. Right. By the time I read about 7 pages, I'd be asleep every time. Like, I can't. My brain ain't functioning. I got to just shut off.
In true hero fashion, I'm wrangling all of you back in. Thank you wonderfully for this first 2-episode Rebels recap. I am going to try so hard not to binge watch the whole show. I'll probably end up binge watching all of it, but we'll see. I'll see how my self-restraint goes this week for the rest of this week. Once again, thank you everybody for joining us in the chat. It's been a wonderful evening. We've had some really, really good talks. Kyle spitting facts always, every time. Yes, we love to hear it. Join us on Saturday for our wild bonanza of a cosplay show. We've got guests, we've got special features, we've got it all.
Yeah, and it's going to be one of those episodes. I'm just going to say right now for all the audio listeners that you might want to check in on the Facebook. I mean on the YouTube because there's going to be a lot of visuals that is going to be. We're going to try to explain them as best as we possibly can, but there's going to be a lot of visual stuff going on. Because everybody's going to be in cosplay, so, it's kind of hard to, they can describe their character, but without visualizing it, it's going to be kind of difficult.
That's absolutely fair. I hope everybody has a wonderful rest of their week. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Like this video because it really, really helps our channel massively. Everybody look after yourselves. And as always, be kind, be safe, and may the force be with all of you, every single one of you, always. Take care, everyone. Bye.
Okay, my bad. I'm trying to get there.
The button!
Every
The
time.
button!
No,
Every time.
I just hooked this mouse up, and I got one of these damn rollerball mouses because that's what they have. So, and it's
I
like I don't.
cultivate these outros for you. I piece them together. I have.
I know. I'm
flow,
sorry.
have rhythm.
This was the mouse's fault. It wasn't my fault this time. It wasn't my fault. It wasn't my fault. All right, guys.
Take
Peace.
care, everyone.
Later.
Bye.